All right, so without further ado, Darren.
I've made it. My name's in light. I'm Darren Winter, and I'm a trauma survivor. My childhood, really happy childhood. I had lots of people around me who I knew loved me, and I felt secure in my relationship with them. The age of 15, things started going a bit pear-shaped. With my father, he had a really bad accident which caused him, impacted on his general state of mind, and obviously his whole life had changed. That impacted on our family because my mother decided to up sticks and went and left myself and my dad on her own. Now, at that time I was in school, and I started sort of going off the rails a little bit. So my GCSEs results, they call me the Spanish waiter. They got so many C's, which pretty good at the time. But I went on to A-level, and everything going on, I just sort of dropped out, so the high school dropout. Now my father's his mental health deteriorated further, and it ended up with him being sectioned. So at the time, I was working. I found a job in a very famous supermarket, and he was there for about 3 months, and then he had a staged, it's supposed to be introduction back to reality life, and he came home for a weekend in March. Was it 1986? And sadly that weekend he committed suicide. Now, obviously, for myself, my brothers, and all that side of things, it was a massive impact. But for me, I was very lucky to have the people around me that I had a secure relationship with. Now, the reason why I've talked about that is that as a social worker, I'm now working with children that didn't have that secure start. They didn't have the relationships that they needed to be resilient. Even though I went through a trauma, a massive trauma, a life-changing trauma, my resilience was made bigger because of the relationships that I had. A gentleman called John Bowlby, who was a psychiatrist, psychologist, he focused on relationships and the importance of relationships for children and their main caregiver. And the research showed that children who were born and were able to have a mother who was not anxious, who got that eye contact with them from the start, that caused all these neurotransmitters and neurons all fire around the brain to be created, and that child would be secure. Now every child that I work with is traumatized. Now their experience was often pre-birth, where their mothers were either involved with domestic violence or with drug takers, alcohol. You'd like to know their story and why they come to that. But the impact on the child was massive, because it's all about the brain. And what happens with early childhood trauma is that, like, give an example here. If you imagine that this is your spinal cord, and this is the reptilian, the part of the brain. This is the ancient part of the brain that just makes your body tick. So it's like your breathing, your body temperature, and all that side of things. Now this part of the brain, if you use your imagination is the limbic part, or we call it the mammalian part. And this is what connects us with animals. Now, this part of the brain is, for children who are traumatized, is the part of the brain that they actually live in. And if you imagine that this part here, what makes us different to animals is that we have a thinking brain, an upper cortex, and this is the way we look for our danger. This has kept us safe and running away from all sorts of animals in the past that wanted to kill us. But our thinking brain made sense of things that we could make a difference. So just an example of, just say there's a road, this part of the brain would be absolutely terrified because that's a really dangerous road and the cars are going and I'm going to get killed, and that's that side of the brain. Now the thinking brain makes sense of that. Yes, it's dangerous, but if we look left and right, wait for the cars to go past, it's safe. Now the children I work with, they can't, they're stuck there. And what I call it is flipping. So on their day-to-day life, because they haven't got a secure attachment, they just can't make sense of the danger. They're always looking for the next bad thing to happen. I loved listening to Ryan's stuff about the stories and everything, because another John Hodges, introduced me to therapeutic story writing and therapeutic life story work, which alongside other therapies can really make a difference to children. Now often we don't say stories as something that you can create for your imagination, but the important thing as well is to write it in the third person, because if you write it in the third person, it doesn't take any shame. After my trauma, shame was massive for me. I was absolutely ashamed all the time. Now the children I work with, they've got shame, but they've also got so much unresolved loss, and they've also got separation anxiety. So this thing about risk and everything, if it's just something that just overwhelms them. And what I use is the therapeutic stories to connect with the children, but I also look at making sure that the parents actually understand the inner child and what's actually going on for the child, because each child that I work with, I'm passionate about that I can make a difference, and make a difference not just now, but for their futures, because everybody that's involved with the children I work with, I want them to understand so that they have a secure base where not only is home, that they can, with their relationship with their parents, with their adopted parents or foster parents, but also with regards to their school, because again, relationships, often the children I work with just can't, they make so many social mistakes that they struggle to make friends. They're often, because of their brain impact, is that they're often emotionally much younger than their chronological peers. So say they're 6, 7, they might be acting like a 2, 3-year-old. But the stories, the work that I do, I say with regards to writing, it's very, very similar approach. Getting them to like themselves, getting them to be the people that they want to be. And I've worked with children from 0 to 16 to 18, and I had a child come back to me, I've worked with him about 10 years, and just at the time, he couldn't actually grasp what I was saying, but he came back to me and said, this one particular lad, he's having mental health issues in regards to using too much drugs. He came up to me, and this lad was 6'3", 6'4", and he was. I was just looking at the house, and I saw him. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm in trouble here, because he actually, as a result of my input, he actually got section. But he came up to me and said, Darren, he goes, I got you to thank for having my son. He showed me a picture of his son, and again, that just reinforces that again, the decisions that you make, the work that I'm doing, I can make a difference, and it doesn't have to be the trauma that you suffer doesn't have to define you. Thank you.